Riverdale news deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Hello and welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we have 2 new episodes of Riverdale for you.
Yeah, we got messy teen drama this week.
We do. We got teen drama. We got kissing in the hot tub.
Yes. Very important episode. I'm like, oh, this is coming up in season 2.
I remember this being more dramatic than it is.
Yeah, and I remember hating it a lot more than I did.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they
like,
should all
yeah.
kiss.
Exactly.
Everyone should kiss as long as everyone's consenting.
Mm-hmm. And I remember being like, I remember it being like painful because in my memory, it's like, oh, they have negative chemistry. It's like, oh no, they just have platonic chemistry.
Oh yeah, they just have very platonic chemistry.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, this is just fun. And then also from Jughead's perspective of just like, wait, hold on now. I'm okay with Betty and I are okay. Like that's all good. That's a water under the bridge. But my best friend did kiss my girlfriend.
Well, they weren't together.
That's true. My ex at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's allowed to have his feelings about it.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He's like, Archie did kiss Betty.
Oh yeah, I'd have weird feelings about that.
Uh-huh.
We would not all be hanging out in a little group.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, that actually works out pretty well. And we get Cheryl stepping into her own, which is great. We love that.
We do love any good Cheryl scene.
Mm-hmm. And we get the Coopers just making a mess of things.
The Coopers are the most dysfunctional family.
Oh, I love it so much.
You could have just a sitcom on the Coopers and it would be really entertaining.
Oh, absolutely. It's so funny.
Like Full House style and Archie's like Kimmy Gibbler.
Yes. They're always trying to shoo him out. Hal's trying to shoo him out.
Not Hal. Actually, it would be
Chick.
Alice.
Or Alice. Yeah, right.
Depending on her mood.
Yeah.
Sometimes she likes Archie, sometimes she doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Gotta watch out. Well, there's a good thought for you. Archie's the Kimmy Gibbler of Riverdale.
No, I do what I can for the people.
That's right. All right. Should we jump into the cast this week?
I think we should. I think you should take us on a journey through fictional people. Well, fictional people.
Real people.
The characters are fictional.
The cast this week. But we're talking about the actors.
Okay, yeah. But I just meant like Midge is fictional.
Oh my God. And I forgot to put Midge on here. We'll pull up a picture of Midge in a sec then.
Okay.
All right. Apologies, everyone. Apologies.
Unprofessional.
Yeah. I believe it's pronounced Amelia Baranek is the actor who plays Midge. And Midge is a comic character, so Midge should be here. A very important comic character, at least like amongst the wider cast. So essentially in the comics, she's Moose's girlfriend who he's very protective of. And so other guys come up and try and flirt with her. You get comedy where Moose comes up and bonks him on the head because he's as she calls him in this episode, a big galoof, which I believe is like straight from the comics. Or at least it's a very particular word chosen for these episodes if it's not from the comics. And so I think you kind of get, depending on the storyline, it's like, oh, in this comic, she's annoyed with him being super protective and will like flirt with the guys too to like bring on his jealousy. This is standard stuff. So hey, guess what? She's from Vancouver.
You don't say.
Uh-huh. She was previously on 4 episodes of Beyond, which was a freeform TV show.
Oh.
We love freeform here, at least for Pretty Liars. Do you want to know what Beyond is about? Holden Matthews wakes up from a 12-year coma and discovers that he now has supernatural abilities, ones that propel him into the middle of a dangerous conspiracy. She was also in 3 episodes of the recent Charmed reboot, also in 1 episode of Sabrina in season 2, so we'll be seeing her in the future. But her biggest role is probably Genevieve in all 3 of the To All the Boys I've Loved Before movies.
Oh.
So one of those things that I know is big and
exists.
Important.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've never seen. And hold 1 second while I switch cameras and we get Midge up on the screen here. So there you go. There's your look at Midge. Midge from the comics.
Got it. She's
Yeah.
a vibe. I like
Mhm.
her top.
All right. And then our second one for this week is Stephen Myers as Andre. Not a whole lot that I really knew and could pick out on. Was the writer and creator of The Fixer, which only got one episode. So I assume pilot produced for that. Small roles, though, also in the 2017 Prison Break series. 50 Shades Darker, a small role. And then in the TV movie, Fit for Christmas, which I believe is about a fitness instructor finding love.
Oh.
There you go.
One year we got to sit down and watch some of those like really, like very specific niche, like Hallmark style holiday movies.
That's true. Just round out our knowledge on this.
Yeah, because like I grew up you watch a lot of like Lifetime Hallmark combination things, but I kind of, I fell off.
Yeah, and my
not
mom
really-
would watch them. It was never like a family thing. So, but we should fill in the gaps. We keep seeing them pop up here. So
So if you have a favorite Hallmark style movie, doesn't have to be Hallmark, it could be on Netflix, but you know what I'm talking about. A
Mhm.
romance, if you will.
Oh, pop off in the comments.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, there's exactly. Hallmark. When any of the kind of like heartwarming, I guess holiday movies, but it doesn't have to.
They don't have to be holiday.
They
They make a Hallmark movie for everything.
That's right. They really do.
Like they make a card for everything.
They're on it. Those people at the Hallmark company. Well, we can move into the summary for this week. So we'll start off with Chapter 26, The Telltale Heart. Did you know that this is named after Edgar Allan Poe's famous story?
I did. Have you read
poem.
the Telltale Heart printed?
Of course. No, it is the one Poe that I read in school.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you remember about it?
That there's a heart under the floorboards, and it's beating and it's driving him crazy. Our narrator.
Uh-huh. Do you remember anything else?
I don't remember like specific lines and things other than like is he hearing the heart or is it in his mind?
Yeah, figment of his imagination, like
Yeah.
a guilt manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the narrative there. I think there's also theories that it's the sound of the death beetles, and like death beetles are used in literature as like that make a similar noise. I don't know. It's like another option that I never really explored.
Is that like in
Just like in Practical Magic.
Thank you so much. Okay, cool.
Similar vibe.
Oh, Practical Magic, closer than you might think.
Exactly. I can find a connection with anything if I try hard enough, and that's not
Sure.
even that hard.
No. Like that took me 2 minutes.
And then the other thing is like there's like the person who died, like the narrator was like hyperfixated on their like creepy blue eye. And then they call it a
Ooh.
creepy blue eye. They have like a much more, poetic way. No pun there.
But it was something
But-
about their blue eye that
Yeah, they like didn't like their eyes.
Mm.
Because there's no motive in there is I don't the narrator
for the death or
Yeah, the narrator is not trying to prove that they are innocent in the Telltale Heart. They're trying to prove that they are sane.
right. Okay.
So the whole narrative is not I didn't do it. It's I am not crazy.
Got it.
Well, obviously manifesting in ways, not obviously, but one interpretation is having a manifestation of them imagining things. So they are crazy,
Right. Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes it. So yeah, because they're hearing the heart and things, it's like
Beneath
you
the
can
floor.
exactly you can make a leap that they are. It is all in their head.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We'll get more into that later. I have some connections to make.
See, there you go. Yeah, we lean on your expertise.
I didn't take any classes on Poe.
Oh, did you not?
I don't know if they offered one.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I would have taken it.
Well, there you
A
go.
whole quarter of just Poe.
Like that might have been a lot.
I might have gotten a little spooked.
Oh, that's true. Well, this episode opens on the guy that they killed bleeding out at the Coopers. Alice begs Betty not to call the cops and assures her it was in self-defense. Betty gets a call from Hal, and Alice says, "Act like everything's normal." Apparently, he's coming over to get toiletries. Betty swoops in to help Alice clean, while Chick cries in the corner. Agent Adams grills Archie about Papa Poutine, and Archie defends Hiram. Agent Adams. We'll come back around on this. Agent Adams says maybe it was his capo, aka the guy who does the boss's killings. He asks if there was an assistant or driver to Hiram, and Archie says no. Hal comes in and finds everything all cleaned up. Hal thinks that there's a big bleach smell in the house, and the Cooper women act hostile to him and get him to leave. Jughead calls Betty to say goodnight and that he loves her, and Betty's like, gotta go, and hangs up quickly, and Jughead's like, oh, okay.
Me this morning when you texted me good morning, like just G morning, and I was like, are you mad at me?
She had texted howdy, so then I was like, good morning.
You know, he was in the living room. I was in the bedroom. There's about, I don't know,
my defense,
a 1/2-foot wall between those two rooms. No, I was just laughing. I was like, oh,
just want it on record.
He's already mad at me. I haven't even gotten up yet.
Betty and Alice drive into the woods to dump the body. Betty worries if someone might come looking for him. They drop him in a sewer pipe that Alice used to come hide in as a little girl. Hal gets comforted by Penelope as he worries they were hiding something from him. FP comes home after dropping off Tallboy out of town. That makes it seem like he got Tallboy home.
Like, you got to go to school, buddy.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a fun play date, but he had to go home. He wants to go to Mayor McCoy to appeal to her, and Jughead looks upset, and FP realizes that the General Pickens' head is gone. The Lodges think receiving the head is a declaration of war, and Veronica wants them to negotiate a treaty. The Coopers come home, and they go to work meticulously scrubbing the house of fingerprints. The next day, Betty heads downstairs to see Alice serving a classic breakfast like nothing's wrong, while Betty has PTSD flashbacks. There's a knock at the door, and Betty answers it to Jughead, who's there to walk her to school. Bughead walked to school, and Jughead's like, hey, about our phone call last night, like, I don't know. Exactly. I thought we had a nice night, but, like, you know, if it's not that, it's fine. And Betty's like, oh, no, I had a great time. It's just drama at home. It's fine. Veronica and Archie walk together as well, and Veronica warns of a turf war. Jughead and Veronica argue, and Veronica wants him and FP to come over to negotiate. Jughead wants Hiram to come to Sunnyside to see who's being displaced. Archie ignores a call from Agent Adams. Kevin says his dad got a call with another killing. Someone at a motel got killed that seems gang-related. Another Gangtown slay. Betty... yes. Betty runs to the bathroom and throws up. Cheryl rounds the corner and asks if she's okay. Veronica vents to Archie, worrying about if her dad killed the guy, and Archie reassures her to believe in Hiram, and at heart, he's a good guy. Archie just really loves Hiram now.
He is obsessed.
Head over heels. Archie just loves everybody.
Not everybody.
That's true. Jughead goes...
He can't love Betty.
That's right. But Jughead...
Oh.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to that next episode. Jughead goes paranoid at Mayor McCoy's and says all the Hiram development sites are city land, and he accuses her of accepting bribes. Agent Adams gives Archie payment for being an informant.
How do you think this kid pieced that together? That wasn't one of my questions, but like, imagine you're in high school and you're like, man, these are all city lands, and so the mayor therefore must be taking a bribe from the lodges. I guess it's not that far.
Yeah, I was like,
it's a clean line. I just was like, I don't know if like...
He has no evidence for the lodges, so I understand that that's a leap for sure.
Okay,
You're right.
Yeah.
He's just... but he's also like, okay, these people are super evil, though.
I mean, valid. I don't think he's wrong. Just am impressed.
Uh-huh. Agent Adams gives Archie payment for being an informant. He wants Archie to go to Hiram and ask about Papa Poutine.
Imagine someone saying they're from the FBI and handing you an envelope of cash.
Yeah, you know, we all should have been more suspicious about this, maybe. Archie goes to talk to Hiram about Papa Poutine, and Hiram's like, I'm gutted that Papa Poutine died, but you know.
Not by my hand.
Exactly, not by my hand, and he was running around, getting himself into trouble.
He had some debts.
Mm-hmm. And Archie's like, Veronica's worrying about your involvement with his potential death and making her spiral. You should really help her give peace of mind. Betty goes back to the woods sewer pipe to see if the body's still there. It is. His cell phone rings, and she's like, I'm going to grab it out of his jacket pocket. It's a call from Condog. And the guy apparently has missed 47 calls, the dead guy. Betty comes home to family board game night. She runs upstairs instead of playing. She's like, I'm not into Mattel product placement. She goes,
I only do CoverGirl.
exactly. She brought the guy's phone home and looks through the text. She makes notes of things in her journal. Hiram and Veronica prep for the negotiation, and Hiram's like, hey, I want to clear things up about Papa Poutine. Like, I didn't kill him, okay? Betty confronts Chick that the guy they killed was actually Chick's drug dealer, not his client. And Betty's like, you lied. What else are you lying about? And Chick starts tearing up, and Alice is like, so you're scaring your brother. And pulls her
adult
away.
Man.
Exactly. I just... Alice tells her to drop it, and we cut away to Chick drying his tears and smiling. An evil little boy at 30 years old.
Reminds me of all of my favorite toddlers.
100%. This is the most toddler-coded 18-year-old you ever did see.
We don't know. How old is Chick? 18?
Oh, he's older than... so he's probably in his early 20s. At the very least. Archie speaks with Agent Adams and is like, hey, Hiram's innocent. Archie tells him that there was bad blood, though, between Papa Poutine and Lenny Kowalski. The Lodges and Jones meet at the Joneses' trailer, and Hiram wants to settle things and give everyone background knowledge on the sites. And Hiram's like, okay, yeah, let's do that. We're okay to do that. They shake on it, and Hiram's like, oh, Jughead, drop my name from the article, please. And Jughead's like, no deal. And FP's like, gotcha. Cheryl notices Hal leaving her house as she shoots her bow. We love this. Archery lessons.
Archery Cheryl her outfit is so good. I just am obsessed.
Cheryl.
Give a girl a bow and arrow.
They're calling her Cheryl Everdeen. Cheryl tells Penelope to stop destroying families. I did mention that Hal was leaving the house.
Yeah.
I didn't just mention. Okay. I'm like, the only part I took away from the sentence I read that she was shooting her bow, and I wanted to make sure that the actual context of the scene was included. Cheryl tells Penelope to stop destroying families, and Betty was really upset. Maybe it was about this. And Penelope's like, it's different with Hal. I love him, and he loves me. Stay out of it. Oh.
Really? Him?
Exactly.
Penelope. Girl to girl.
Really. Veronica comes home as Mayor McCoy leaves in a huff. Hiram and Hermione want to announce their plans early, and Mayor McCoy wants to wait until she's reelected and threaten them. They want to ruin her through scandal, and Andre has been following her to her rendezvous with Sheriff Keller. Yeah, no shit, it's really easy to follow them. Betty and Veronica did it. Hermione says it's time for Operation Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Now, pause for dramatic effect real quick here, because I'm pretty sure this is a very loaded thing. Yes. So Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is a 1967 romantic comedy drama film that starred Sidney Poitier. And it is about, I'm pretty sure, a white girl bringing home her like black boyfriend.
Oh no.
Yeah, they become engaged, and then they are shocked that their daughter is engaged to a man of a different race. And so
oh no.
The Lodges are instituting not that they're having an adulterous affair, but they're literally calling attention to that is an interracial affair.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so loaded. I would have never, I was just like, what a stupid line. And then I moved on. I was like, that's silly.
Exactly. And then.
Wow.
And then, yeah.
Okay.
And so it's this like, it's like this comedy like about this in like 1967. Mm-hmm. They, yeah, because, yeah. And they made I have to remember, the reason I know this too, because I think they made an Ashton Kutcher version of this in the mid-aughts called like Guess Who? Where it's Ashton Kutcher's the white boyfriend being brought home.
Oh no.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But supposedly in this, at least, it's like the father objects because he thinks that there will be like tons of problems that they have to face and whatnot. But loaded nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we're coming back from that. Archie comes home and finds Agent Adams speaking with his dad. Oh. Betty calls people on the guy's, the drug dealer's cell phone, saying she found a lost phone, but everyone keeps hanging up because your drug dealer's calling and the woman's on the other line saying, I found this phone. You don't want to be connected to that.
Oh, sorry, I don't know who this is.
Yeah, she then picks up a call from a woman and is like, "You're the girl he's run away with. Well, tell him don't even bother coming back," and I think she calls him like scumbag or something. Jughead picks up a call from Betty and he rushes over to her house and finds her sitting on the front steps and she tells him everything. After the commercial break, Jughead is shook and even more upset than Betty is, who had to clean up blood.
Wait, my favorite thing about this is Jughead, who is a child in a gang and had to have the shit beat out of him to join the gang by other high schoolers, and who skinned the tattoo off a woman, is like, oh my God, there was a dead body here.
Yeah, it's something.
I mean, granted, it really shows his privilege as the serpent Nepo baby.
Right, he hasn't really, exactly, he hasn't really had to get his hands dirty,
No.
unless when he got his pound of flesh.
His father, though, moved a dead body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not you, Betty. The meter maid comes up and is like, "Hey, what is this like beat up car over here? Does it belong to someone?" And they're like, "Yes, officer. It actually belongs to me and we'll move it."
Okay.
Let her tow it.
Correct answer is no. I don't know why someone parked there.
Just this, like,
It's been there for a couple days. You wanna ticket it or tow it
Yeah.
or something?
I don't know. It's this beat up car.
The correct answer when the police ask you anything is, I don't know.
I don't know, officer.
I don't know.
Why would you take responsibility for this car?
Not sure.
Anyway, Fred talks to Archie after Agent Adams leaves. They're cracking down on undocumented labor, and he thinks he might have, the FBI thinks he hired people in the past. And they're requesting files from him for the past 7 years. Boy, howdy.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, it's like an I-9 audit is like a legitimate, like it's a chunk.
Oh, yeah. Archie goes out front and confronts Agent Adams.
Okay, but hold on.
Oh.
You skipped my favorite part of that is that he was hiring illegal employees from Canada.
Oh, yeah, that's
'Cause
right.
this is the north of the United States, so it is Canadian immigrants who came to the U.S. to work for Fred's construction company.
That's right.
I'm not saying that never happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying it's a hilarious choice.
Yes. It is 100% not the thing that anybody on this, on the crazy, like, right side of our country ever focuses on.
Exactly. They were like, well, talk about that illegal labor coming from Canada.
Right. They're like,
It sounds like something Donald Trump would say.
Unfortunately, yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're cracking down on the Canadians.
God.
You'd be like, oh my God, I just want some ketchup chips, please.
Oh, God, please. Yeah.
Canada, we love you.
Exactly. Just open a, yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately.
We love you.
Our leaders are making it very hard.
Well, not hard to love Canada. Making it hard for Canada to love
Sorry,
us.
for us to get ketchup chips and all-dressed chips.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Canadian chips are the best.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I agree with all the Canadians being like, I don't want to be involved with the U.S. I don't want to be part of you.
I don't want to be involved either.
Yeah. God bless.
But I just thought it was a great little like way to play with that, where it's like, yeah, all these illegal workers coming from our northern border.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, sometimes I just pay him under the table in cash.
Yeah, Fred's a good guy.
Fred's a good guy.
We love Fred.
We do love Fred.
Archie goes out front and confronts Agent Adams. Adams says, "You're feeding me false information because Poutine didn't owe Kowalski money, and Archie needs to plant a bug in Hiram's office." Hal leaves Thistle House as Cheryl waits for him, and she tells him to stop seeing Penelope. Veronica pleads with Mayor McCoy to not go after the lodges and mentions that they plan to discredit her and they know about her affair. Mayor McCoy is shook and says, "How long do I have?" Jughead and Betty push the drug dealer's car into the river, and Betty throws his phone in as well. Jughead has to prompt her on this, though. Mayor McCoy gives a speech and has decided to step down as mayor, and the lodgers are like, why did she decide to step down before we even threatened her? And Veronica's like, well, you don't have to make your play then yet. And Hiram's like, did you warn her? And Veronica's like, no. Chick answers the door to Hal and tells him Alice and Betty aren't home and tries to shut the door on him, but Hal steps in. Cheryl comes up to Betty at school to tell her about her dad. Cut to Betty coming home as Hal is threatening Chick, who's shaking in the corner. Hal yells at Betty for answers. Betty tells him to leave or she'll tell Alice about him and Penelope and says maybe the reason you think we're hiding things is because you are. Hal leaves and Chick thanks Betty for helping him, but she says she did it for her mom. Archie sees his dad digging through papers and ponders the bug from the FBI. He goes to Hiram and is like, hey, actually, I've been an informant for weeks. And Archie's like, I smashed the bug with a hammer. And that Agent Adams is threatening Fred. Hiram asks why he's telling him, and Archie says, I like you, and I love your daughter. And I think Agent Adams is more dangerous than you, and I want you to help my dad. Hiram asks for the agent's name and says he'll be dealt with. Betty catches Alice up later on Hal coming by and about being over their head about the dead body. Alice doesn't want to go to the police, and Betty says, let's go to someone else. They instead go to FP. He's like, I won't let you make the same mistake as I did with Jason. Cut to the forest where FP digs a grave and pours something over the dead body.
Sodium hydroxide.
Thank you. Archie comes downstairs to a knock and finds Andre at his door, and Andre's like, the boss would like to see you, and they go in a private limo and drive somewhere that's private and scenic. The dead body gang looks worn out at Pops as FP comes back, and he's like, it's done. He's like, in a week, there will be nothing left. Alice apologizes, and FP grips her hand. Oh. And he says, we take care of our own. Mm. Chick sits by the fire and looks through the family photo albums and takes out a photo of the original nuclear family and cuts out Hal. Andre drives Archie into the woods, and they find Hermione waiting for them. Hermione's like, yes, you thought I wasn't doing anything, but actually I've been doing things in the background, just off screen. And Agent Adams, he was someone we hired to test you, and you passed, Archie. The end.
Okay.
Archie, we needed a snitch.
So, the telltale heart facts.
Oh, yeah.
1, it has an unreliable narrator. 2, there's a lot of paranoia. 3, I said this earlier, but the narrator uses like exactness to convince the reader, or if they are giving a confession, it's not really confirmed like what they're doing in that part. Try to confirm that they're sane.
It's like look at all these facts. This is why I'm sane.
The narrator is never. There's no gender. There's no pronouns associated with the narrator, so we don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't remembered
the gender. And the relationship between the narrator and the victim is ambiguous. It's just basically the narrator being like, I don't like that eye. I mean, there's more to it, but not really.
Multiple stanzas.
What happened if I wrote it? There's something thumping under the floor. So,
oh my God, downstairs neighbors again. That's interesting. Sorry, just on that.
Go ahead.
I hadn't realized a couple of those things. One, that there's no pronouns, and that there's no.
Well, I guess there's like a personal pronoun. You know what I mean? Like I think there's like an I, but like there's
gender
no
pronouns.
Yeah,
right.
No, I said no pronouns, and I was like, well, I guess I'm technically.
I think you actually said gender pronouns.
Oh, okay.
I said it wrong.
It doesn't matter. But
yeah, you're right.
I just, now that we have people who say, I don't do pronouns, we got to be real specific about what that word means because
they're literally stripping out like I from sentences. But, and that the relationship between the victim, supposedly, or the heart, and the narrator. Like, I didn't remember all that.
And there's a lot of like exactness in how they did it. It's like, I did this, and then I did this, and then I disassembled the body here, and then I did, like, it's very methodical and like thought out, and it does not give the implication of like a crime of passion. This is like a crime. I mean, it is, but it's like a crime of like, I've made these choices. I've planned this very thoroughly.
Right. Got it.
And then the murder then haunts the narrator instead to dumps under the floorboards. So I thought that would be a fun way to tie this all in, is like our characters are being haunted. So Archie's being haunted by Agent Adams.
Very much.
Really, he's being haunted by Hiram.
Well, and Hermione. Which is a very funny twist.
So he's being haunted by like Hiram's power, family power, which is terrifying. Like it's a great way to terrify Archie. Like to be like, oh, like we could so easily turn in your father for illegal labor. We could so easily turn your life on its head. Like what we could do to you with a fake agent. Imagine what we could do if we decided we really wanted to mess with you.
100%. It's funny though with Archie.
I think it's more of a threat than a test.
Yeah.
In the end.
Right. That's true. I feel like Archie still thinks of it as a test.
Oh, 100%. But Archie's the dumbest person on the show.
Yes, very much so. But yeah, it absolutely is more of a threat. We can spin all this up and then make it go away just as fast.
So I think Cheryl is being haunted. She's being haunted by her mother.
Good God, yeah. The most nightmarish psychosexual. What is she? It's in the next episode of what she calls it. Like, my mother has turned our house into a sexual playground or something.
Uh-huh.
And then Tony is just sitting there, just going,
Uh-huh.
what a nightmare.
And they're living in a town where there was a serial killer who was going after people for being bad or like unpure or whatever biblical term you want to use, sinners. And then her mother is like, she's, as Cheryl likes to put it, running a brothel out of their home, but not really.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Not yet.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh. But exactly, like way over the line of exactly what you think for like the Black Hood would be targeting.
FP is haunted, obviously, by what he did to Jason.
Oh,
And
yeah.
He has this like plan to clean up and protect Alice and Betty and Jughead from the same thing that happened to him. We take care of our own, because that's right. Betty's a serpent.
That's right. And guess and
Alice is a serpent.
Uh-huh.
Like mother, like daughter.
That's right. We love it.
And Jughead's a serpent. So.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think like the person this obviously plants to the most is kind of the Betty and Alice group.
Yeah.
So like Alice also has an undefined, ambiguous relationship with whoever came after Chick. And so the person she killed. And Betty is the one, unfortunately, who is haunted by it, though. So she didn't do the murder, but she is haunted by the murder and by the cleanup of the murder.
100%.
And so her going back to the body and like her like obsessing over the phone, it's very clear that Betty is just, she's haunted and obsessed.
Mm-hmm. While Alice is, we can only assume, is trying to like compartmentalize it. I mean, I guess that's maybe making a leap, because she also goes to Betty of like, hey, I'd figure if he was a drug dealer, then better that he's off the streets.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
we don't actually know how Alice feels.
Exactly. Yeah, right. So I was making a leap there, but at least in some way she feels just, at least like is trying to figure out a way to feel justified. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like move on from it.
There's like a self-defense aspect to it for her.
100%.
And she doesn't want Chick to get taken away, so that's why she doesn't call the police.
Right. Exactly. She doesn't want her son that's back in her life to be gone again.
Our lovely friend of the podcast, Sarah, did point out while watching this, she's like watching Jughead and Betty push the car in is very a la Hannah and Aria watching, it's Wilden's car go into the water.
I think so, yeah.
And I was like, what is, like, these shows, they're like, let me push a car into the water instead of just like saying, oh, this car was abandoned here.
Yeah, nothing to do with us.
At least a police car, it's like there's like records and like it's recording. Like it almost makes more sense in Pretty Little Liars.
And it ends up in their driveway, right?
Yeah, it's in her garage or her driveway.
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
garage. That's what it is. Yeah, because it's literally on the property. With it, because you wouldn't think that the Coopers would have this like rundown car that's like across the street from you.
Uh-huh.
So there's no reason to claim it. And I don't know how you would. I guess maybe if it was looking at like Chick's phone, if he was like the most recent person to like call this person, that you would maybe then track back there.
But wouldn't you just get rid of this man's phone and not like worry about the rest?
So then you're kind of like, cool, we're good. Betty makes, I know Betty is doing this out of like guilt and like feeling weird, but it's like, oh no, Betty, you got your fingerprints are all over that phone.
Uh-huh.
You're going and visiting this body without any gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
There's a really good, throughout the episode, there's heartbeat scenes. Like there's scenes where the music sounds like a heartbeat. And it's specifically, one of them is when Jughead is talking to Mayor McCoy at the like beginning of the episode, towards the beginning of the episode. That's like, it's a lot of the times when Jughead is trying to like find the truth, or like, I don't know if they're doing that in a way where it's like, is Jughead like right now the beating heart of Riverdale because he's trying to like, he's gotten to the truth of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it was fun. There's throughout the episode, there were a couple times there was the heartbeat, and that was one of them. Yeah,
and on the opposite too of Mayor McCoy's guilt.
Well, and so
over what she's done.
Is Hiram the metaphorical body under the floorboards that's like haunting them in this scene? You know what I mean? Because it happens there. I can't remember if it happens also like when they meet Hiram, the house. But there's like a couple
Oh.
times. Oh, it's also happening in the scene where they're pushing the car into the water.
Oh, nice. Yep,
Mhm.
that's good.
So it's like scenes with Jughead specifically. I've noticed it more. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in other ones, but that's what I know. I thought that was really interesting. I also really like, so at the beginning of this episode, Hiram lies to Veronica, we assume, and says he knows nothing to do with Papa Poutine. And she's like, okay, Dad. Okay, Daddy, I believe you. And then we don't know if she believes him until I think at the end of the episode, it's very clear she doesn't, because she lies to his face saying that, what was it at the end that he asked her?
Oh, about when she warns Sierra.
Oh, yeah. She lies straight to his face about warning Sierra. So it's like, well, she doesn't believe him. She doesn't trust him.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I thought that was really good. I thought that was like really good storytelling of a way to show that neither one of them are being honest with each other.
Mm-mm. And even though earlier when she does, like, because she does hug him after the,
well, yeah,
he like comes, he's like, no, I didn't have anything to do with Papa Poutine.
And she
it's
hugs
like,
him.
It's like, okay, no, we're still on the same foot.
That's what I got for that episode. Other thoughts?
No, I don't think I have a ton of thoughts about this one. I think it was fine.
There's a couple thoughts I have that we can't talk about without giving things away.
Okay. Yeah, I do have thoughts about that. But
They're really good, and I'm really mad because I never would have caught any of this coming through the first time. And now I'm like, oh.
So it'll be fun when we can come back around when this stuff comes up. So
I'm hoping I remember. I wrote it all down, but we'll see.
Yeah. Stay tuned. A little treat for you in the future for those who haven't seen it yet.
Ready for The Hills Have Eyes?
Yes.
The hills are alive with the sound of music. No?
No.
No?
Hey, now that's a very different.
No, this is about The Hills Have Eyes is a movie where people are hunted by cannibals in the desert in Nevada. That's what I learned from Googling it. Because I've heard, like, The Hills Have Eyes. You know, like, I'm like, oh, it's a scary movie, and I don't watch those. And so I was like, I wonder what that one's about. And I was like, cannibals. Got it.
Oh, good. I couldn't remember. Yeah, so it's like they're in a town. I'm assuming, wanted to double check, that it's related to the town of, like, these people, like, are in a small town, and then the people that are inhabit the small town are the ones that are trying to attack them. Yeah, oh my god, this is really loaded. But yeah, it's like some people in town that are oh, good lord. Yeah. Yeah, so there's some loaded stuff in here with how the family is brought up, but it's essentially like these people get stranded in this small town, and the people, try and eat them. Boy, howdy. Right. Well, so we already got the title introduction there. I do have some brief background notes. So Love, Simon, who you see about related throughout the episode, was an American romantic comedy drama film that Greg Berlanti, who's an executive producer and writer for Riverdale, directed that film. So isn't that a nice little synergy that it comes through here?
I never saw Love, Simon.
Would you like to know what it's about?
Yeah. It's about Love and Simon, I assume.
Well, it centers on Simon Spear, a closeted gay teenage boy who's forced to balance his friends, his family, and the blackmailer threatening to out him to the entire high school, while simultaneously attempting to discover the identity of the anonymous classmate whom he has fallen in love with online.
It's the same person, isn't it?
Probably. I did not read the full plot, but
I don't know.
Who's to say?
I haven't seen it.
I didn't either.
We should have watched it before, though.
You're right.
We got to do our homework better. We're sorry. This is a free podcast. We make free from it.
Well, for coming up soon, we will have to watch Carrie. Betty checks the news headlines every day, worrying about the body, and she gets more and more annoyed with Chick at home. Cheryl talks down to her mom, and Penelope gets mad that she drove away Hal, and then really digs into Cheryl and calls her, like, loveless. Yeah, calls her loveless in this scene. Hiram tells Veronica and Archie that they should make use of Hiram tells Veronica and Archie to go make use of the lodge's lake house since Hiram and Hermione can't make it for that weekend. And he also says they should invite Betty and Jughead.
This reminds me of, that joke online that's like, the downside to being a liberal is that you have no friends with a boat.
Oh.
It's like the downside.
Yeah.
I would assume, I feel like lake house fits pretty closely. I mean, not all, but
Yeah, that's.
I don't know a lot of people with lake houses.
No.
I know one, and it's not theirs. It's like, their extended families.
Mm-hmm.
But
not this lake house especially.
oh yeah, no, this is like a private lake house.
Hiram talks to Archie alone and is like, hey, actually, me and Hermione will be hosting a meeting with the major New York families around here. They're like, a little unsettled after Papa Poutine's death. So we're getting Veronica out of town. So there's nothing like, she essentially don't interfere, but she's not worried. Andre will be close by, but don't tell Veronica. Jughead is worried that Hiram is planning something really bad and vents to FP about it. Kevin catches Moose at school and invites him to see Love Simon, but Moose is apparently already going with Midge. And he's like, well, you should come along with us, Kevin. And he says that Midge knows everything about them.
Yeah, he says that Midge knows all about them.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what does that mean?
So Moose is a liar, as we find out later.
But why would you lie about that?
Yeah, I don't know, to try and have your cake and eat it too, I guess, somehow.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, and try and be like, no, see, it's fine, Kevin, if we go hook up.
Oh.
That's what I'm assuming. Kevin finds this off-putting, though, and says no.
I don't like that.
Good eye, Kevin. Veronica invites Jughead and Betty, and they accept on the vacation to the lake house, and Cheryl's like, hey, where are we all going? And Veronica's like, it's a couples-only weekend. And Cheryl is like, oh, I'm sorry, and puts on a brave face and leaves, which is especially mean.
Because her mom just called her Loveless.
But, I mean, Veronica doesn't know that.
Oh.
Betty asks why Jughead was so up for the lake house this weekend, and Jughead's like, because I want to use Veronica as a source on Hiram. Betty tells him not to investigate while they're there this weekend, and it's just an escape, okay? I need some time away.
Hospitality, rules of being a guest, and I guess how would Jughead know?
Right, but I mean...
He's a serpent.
Exactly. He's not used to these lake house things. Jughead waits for Betty downstairs at her house and meets Chick, who acts aggressive toward him. Chick tells him if he tells anyone about the body, it'll be bad for Betty and Alice, and does a creepy smile at him. Like, ooh, okay.
The guy who plays Chick is so good at being so weird.
It's really good.
He makes me so uncomfortable.
Yeah. He does a really good job.
Yeah, and not you know what I mean? I'm like, he's really good at that.
Right. The couples go off to the lake house, and Jughead makes a Wes Craven reference. What was it specifically? This really was the last house on the left. Okay, thank you, Jughead. Archie collects all the bags, and Andre assures Archie that if there's any trouble, he's a phone call away, and Archie spots his gun. They settle into the lodge, as Veronica calls it, and Jughead gets a call from Cheryl. And it's like, hey, it calls him a welfare baby first, and then tells him that Archie and Betty kissed, and then hangs up. The other three come outside.
I know it wasn't nice, but I love her.
She's like, okay,
I love her.
Gonna be mean to me? I'm gonna stir up some shit.
Well, and first of all, Jughead, it's not his lake house. He did not invite her or tell her she couldn't go. But she's like, I know how I can start a little drama.
This is the one leverage I have. And Jughead asks about Barchi kissing.
I like that you use the ship names.
Yeah, it's easier in my notes. Cheryl's in the bathroom as she hangs up her phone, and then Tony comes in. And Tony asks, hey, why did you, stir up some shit about, Jughead and Barchi? And then Cheryl's like, I need no reasons, okay? And then, I forget the exact terminology she uses, but, I'm, the queen bee. And Tony touches her shoulder and is like, hey, what's, actually going on? And Cheryl tells her to get her sapphic serpent hands off of her body. Veronica thanks Archie for being honest, and they hook up. Jughead tells Betty he's not mad about the kiss, but wanted to know why he didn't tell him. And he's like, is it because Archie's a really touchy subject for me? I didn't know the terminology he used before, but third rail. I'm assuming that's train thing, like a really touchy or electric subject.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't heard the term before. And she kind of is like, yeah. And he's like, okay, yeah, I know it's tough and it's weird, but I'm not intimidated by him. It's okay. They make up, and then they hear Archie and Veronica having sex. The four then all have drinks together later, and Jughead asks about the Sodale project, and Betty keeps trying to reroute him from trying to grill Veronica on this. Veronica thinks that they're acting weird because of Cheryl's call and tells him, you know what, Betty, Veronica, I know you're feeling weird, but what we need to do is get into the hot tub. And then when they get in the hot tub, Veronica says Jughead and her should kiss to clear the air. And then their buddy and like Archie are like, oh no. And then Jughead's like weirdly game about it. And Betty looks at him like he's got a third head. And then Veronica and Jughead kiss.
So I looked up third rail. You're correct. But a third rail, politically, metaphorically, is a metaphor for any issue so controversial that it is charged and untouchable to the extent that any politician or public official who dares to broach the subject will suffer politically.
Oh.
It comes from the high voltage third rail, sometimes in railway systems.
Okay. Got it. That makes a lot of sense.
And if you touch those third rails, will die if they're so shocked. They're so electric.
Got it. Okay. And that makes sense for politics then too.
Save that metaphor for later, though. That's good for something else I'm writing.
Later, Betty tells Jughead, it's like, I realized that out of the four of us, only you and Archie haven't kissed. And then Jughead's like, what? You and Veronica? It's completely skipping over. It's like, Archie would really like a kiss, Jughead.
Yeah, Archie really wants a kiss.
And then she asks if he liked kissing Veronica and then opens up the bathroom door. She's in her lingerie and dark Betty wig, and they hook up. Archie does push-ups on the floor, and Veronica's like, are you doing that because of Jughead going after your masculinity? It's okay. And Veronica wants to have sex, and Archie's like, I'm tired. The next morning, Veronica comes outside to see Archie chopping wood a ways away, and she's like, oh yeah. She sees him look at his phone and walk into the woods. She's like, huh. And she follows him to find him talking with Andre. Archie comes clean on the lodge family meeting. Veronica tells Andre he's leaving immediately and tells Archie to give her space, and she's going into town with just Betty. The direct line of entertain Jughead and try not to choke on your testosterone while you're at it.
Such a good line.
Mm-hmm. Josey finds her mom and Sheriff Keller being very friendly before he leaves. Sarah says, we talked about this, we care about each other. And Josey's like, it's weird, especially because Dad doesn't know. And she's like, actually, I told him, and we're getting a divorce. And Josey's like, what about Sheriff Keller? And McCoy's like, we need to give him time. Sarah, you don't know if this man's getting a divorce? She's upset about this.
Well, also, like, that's horrible for your political career. Why risk it?
Stop
like,
this.
What do you care about more? Fucking the sheriff or your political career?
Mm-hmm. I think we're getting, we got our answer. Jughead tells Archie that Betty and Veronica kissed. Archie apologizes for kissing Betty, and Jughead's like, it's okay. Jughead's like, it's all messy because we're all so close to one another, and they look at each other longingly.
Kiss, kiss, kiss. See, that's the issue. We talked about this before in other episodes. The two of them need to kiss.
I know. Let's kiss.
Jughead's
Jughead's not into it. That's the thing.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Or is Jughead just scared?
I don't think Jughead's into it.
That's okay.
Archie is constantly like, it's just us, bro. And Jughead's like, yeah, and our girlfriends. And Archie's like, yeah, right. The girlfriends.
But not in this time. Jughead brings it up.
Yeah.
Jughead
like,
brings it up.
All four of us are awful close. Interesting. Kevin and Josey. Oh, sorry.
I'm a child. I just want them to kiss. That's not really a childish. I'm a romantic at heart.
That's the adult thing to do. Fuck her up, boys. Kevin and Josey get lunch at Pops.
People should kiss more. Not on the lips necessarily, but like, all my friends kiss, a kiss on the cheek.
Yeah. Like the stereotypical like Italian or whatever.
Yeah.
Kevin and Josey get lunch at Pops after Kevin goes to confront his dad, and Tom tries to explain, but Kevin storms off. Betty and Veronica, Josey tells Kevin about their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Betty and Veronica shop in town. Veronica flirts with the store clerk, who does know that they're at the lake house without their parents. Oh, Veronica, why did you tell her this?
Veronica, I'm like, girl, you lived in New York. You have no street smarts?
No. They leave the store, and three men just watch them leave, and they don't have a single word of conversation. Uh-oh. Betty and Veronica come home. Archie asks if Veronica's still mad at him, which is always a great thing to ask when you fucked up. Veronica says,
"Are you still mad at me?"
Right. Hey, I know I messed up earlier. Are you still mad? Veronica says yes, and for now it's on me and you. Like, for now on, it's me and you, not you and my dad. And Archie's like, well, we'll see about that. Jughead gets a call from FP. He's having a party at the trailer. Hiram paid off everybody's loan at Sunnyside Trailer Park, and no one has to move out. Woohoo! Like, there's like 50 people packed in this trailer. And he's like, we can all stay. And Jughead's like, sorry, not Betty. He goes, Veronica, why did your dad buy up Sunnyside Trailer Park? And Archie's like, well, don't you get your keep your trailer? And Jughead's like, it's all a smokescreen. And Archie's like, well, like, sounds like you wanted Hiram to make amends, and he sounds like he's making amends. So maybe just like take the win on this one. And everybody's like, yeah, I don't really see like why you're so upset. Which we all know Jughead's right. But Sierra confronts Josey about telling Kevin, and apparently Tom is trying to talk to his wife now. You messed everything up, Josey. Sierra, please.
Josey taking the blame for all of this to me is fucking wild.
Have some respect for yourself, Sierra.
She's like, I shouldn't have told Kevin. Why?
Mm-mm.
I think you should have told Kevin. A good friend would tell Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank God you told
I think
Kevin.
Josey's a better friend than Veronica and Betty because they know and they didn't tell Kevin.
No. Or Josey.
Or Josey.
They're tailing him too. Josey says you were trying to implode our lives, and Sierra's like, you took away Kevin and Tom's choice to come and clean on this as well. Now get off your high horse.
When you have an affair and you commit a secret in public, it's not a secret.
Mm-mm.
You forfeit the right for that to be your choice to share.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
Kevin has burgers at Pops as Moose and Midge come
By
up.
himself?
Yeah, by himself. Poor guy. And then Midge is like, hey, do you want to come sit with us? And Midge is like, well, who are you going to see Love Simon with? And Kevin's like, myself. And Midge is like, oh, well, maybe like one of the like Southside guys you might be interested in, maybe Fangs. And Moose is like, yeah, he's hot. And then Midge is like, well, what do you know about that? And he's like, uh-oh. And then Midge is like, well, how do you two know each other? Uh-oh. Kevin covers for him and is like, oh, we're lab partners. At Thistle House, Cheryl watches Penelope greet a client. They even have the red light outside of their house. Hilarious.
I love it.
Kevin sees Josey at the theater and she apologizes for telling him about their parents. And Kevin's like, it's okay.
I don't know why she apologized.
Don't need to apologize. Cheryl is at the movies and Tony comes up to rip her. And turns out Tony's alone because Fangs bailed on her. And Cheryl's upset about everything in her life. To which Tony looks like also equally upset of like, good Lord. And is like, well, why don't we go see it together? The Lake House friends play Monopoly and drink. Betty gets a call from Alice, and everyone tells her not to answer. She does anyway. As Betty steps away, Veronica asks about meeting Chick, and Jughead's like, hey, I met him, and he's like really creepy. Betty says Alice is freaking out because Hiram bought the Riverdale Register. And then it's a Vughead versus Archie argument as they argue over Hiram's move. And Veronica's like, well, my dad's done plenty of good things. And like, he's not going to stifle the free press just because he owns the paper. Riverdale had done its homework. This never happened in real life. And it's like, he's done plenty of good things. And Betty's like what? And Veronica can't name anything. And Archie's like, well, he paid my dad's medical bills. The windows break as a bunch of dudes in ski masks come in to rob them. Veronica goes with one of them upstairs to grab her purse, and she pushes a panic switch on the back of her nightstand while they don't notice. One of the robbers makes them all get down on their knees. He's about to bash them as the alarm and the phone rings. And Veronica's like, you have 30 seconds before private security takes them all down. The robbers run off, and one grabs Veronica's necklace. Archie then decides that he's going to take off after them and tackles one of them and rips off their mask, and it's the clerk from the store. Andre comes up and tells Archie to go back to the cabin and he'll take care of it. As Archie runs back, he hears a gunshot. Josey and Kevin invited their parents to Pop so they can all talk it out. Cheryl and Tony have milkshakes at the counter. Cheryl cries about the movie and that everyone thinks she doesn't care about things and doesn't love anyone. And it turns out she did love someone, but her mom destroyed it. It was a girl named Heather in junior high. Penelope caught them together in the same bed and called them deviant. Tony tells her Penelope's wrong. The Lake House 4 are back in town at Pop's, and Archie said he'd never caught up to the robber in the woods. Interesting. Archie later sits with Hiram, and Hiram's like, you made the only choice, telling the boys to take what they want and get out. He asks if what Andre did bothers him, and Archie says he regrets not killing the Black Hood when he had the chance. Hiram says when it comes to your loved ones, you never hesitate, and gives him Veronica's necklace that the robber took. Jughead brings Betty home and warns her about Chick and tells her to be careful. The end.
What's really cool about this episode is it starts and it ends the same, basically. It starts with like Betty being haunted by Chick, and it ends with Betty being haunted by Chick.
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
like even
full circle.
going away and dealing with all that they dealt with didn't solve her problem.
No.
Because that doesn't solve her problem.
Right.
I think it's just like a really good like little through line there that like nothing changed.
It's like we took our little time away and now we're back.
Well, and they go there and they all fight and they all have it out, but then they come back and everything's the same. They never apologize for the things they say for the most part, but then they're all sitting in the booth together.
Right.
And they apologize in their couples, if that makes sense, kind of.
Right, between Betty and Jughead and Veronica and Archie.
But they don't like the way they all fight. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Another thing Sarah, friend of the podcast, pointed out, she was comparing Hiram and the Sunnyside trailer park thing to our current politics in the sense of like that people, certain people create problems to then solve them. And if you create the problem and then you give the solution and everyone's like, yay, you did it. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We are all Jughead going, FP, why are you throwing a party right now?
100%. Yeah. It's like, oh, we're not going to get the guy who was going to evict us is no longer evicting us.
Exactly.
Thank you for saving us from nothing.
Saving us from you.
Yeah.
You saved us from the problem you created.
And
you didn't actually save us at all. You now own our property.
Right. And then it's also, again, modern things which really suck of the rich buying papers and publications. So like Bezos and Washington Post.
That's I literally wrote Washington Post vibes.
Exactly.
Also, why did Hal sell the paper? Because the other thing that Betty keeps saying is my mom can't get a hold of my dad. So why did Hal agree to sell to Hiram? And did Hal have the ability to, like, does he not need Alice to do it? Is he, because I guess they're still married. Exactly.
So, but like, who actually owns the paper?
Or is it like when you're married, it kind of is like it can be if you open it together, it can be both of you.
Oh, maybe it doesn't have to be both. Yeah, just one or the other. Yeah, interesting.
Like either one of you can make decisions.
Right. And is he doing it out of spite? Oh, I'm sorry to backpedal on the Agent Adams thing real quick. I was just remembering. So for people that maybe were following along the past few weeks, I don't think either of us remembered that he was a double agent for like Hermione and Hiram.
No, I completely forgot he existed.
Yeah, I did too. So that we were not doing like like pretending like we didn't know what was up with that storyline.
No.
We were both like, I don't remember.
Even up until they reveal it in that same episode, one of my notes is, where's Agent Adams' boss? Like, why is he able to treat a child like this and no one's saying anything? Who's his boss? I want to talk to his boss.
When he comes...
And then when he gets in the car, when Archie got in the car to go with Andre, I was like, oh, shit. Like,
you remembered?
I was like, I started to like have like a slight, you know what I mean? Like where you're like, I think... But I don't, like, I could not have told you the plot.
Right, yeah. I didn't remember it all until we got there.
It felt familiar as we got there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I'm like, oh, they're going to have a talking to on loyalty. But then I was like, oh, never mind. All right. I had to stop there.
So one of the things I think they really want you to focus on in this episode is our gay characters and their relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have Kevin.
Just some weird working in of the product placement, essentially.
Yeah, the Love Simon. We have Kevin, who is being lied to by Moose, but still covers for him. Kevin is all in all like a good person. You know what I mean? Like he tries to be like good to people.
Right. He wants nothing to do with their relationship.
He doesn't want to be the problem.
Exactly.
He wants someone to like love him openly and willingly.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, he is a good person, and he has what am I trying to say? Very strong in himself in that way that he'd rather be alone than like put up with Moose's weird shenanigans.
I also wrote Moose's name is Mouse every single spot in my notes.
She would not do this.
No. But the fact that Moose lied to him, you already pointed out, but that was really interesting. And then obviously we have to talk about Cheryl Bombshell and Tony Tofast.
That's right. She calls herself Bombshell. Yeah.
So I love Cheryl and Tony.
Yeah.
I love Cheryl and Tony. Okay. So Cheryl and Tony We have Tony, who is just too good for all of us. Who's
Yeah.
like, Cheryl, what's really bothering you? Like, Tony's just so nice. She's
Mhm.
so nice.
The way she disarms Cheryl, it's
Mhm.
extremely sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a lot of character growth for Cheryl.
Mm.
That it wasn't necessarily not there yet. At least we didn't have this like background piece, but it's a good turn from where they had her earlier in the season. And I think
With
we're
like
both
the Josey and the like making it look like she's the one stalking Josey.
yeah. And we played coy a little bit about like where Cheryl's storyline was going. So this is way better.
Mm-hmm.
At least giving her like this is another reason of like why I hated my family and why I feel so alone in the world because I was taught to be alone this way.
Because I was taught that the way I loved was wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And that I was incorrect. I wish we had spent more time with this leading up to it. Like, we do
Yeah.
get a little bit. We get the Josey, like the concept of it,
Yeah.
but I wish we'd gotten it in a slightly less creepy way.
Yes.
I think that would have been better.
And I think sorry.
I also think that the narrative device of it is kind of weak, where she's like, yeah, my mom caught me and my friend in the same bed together in junior high. Because, like, I, as a girl, all of my friends, like, if my friends slept over, we usually slept in the same bed.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's nothing weird or sexual about it.
Right.
I mean, like, my best friend would sleep on top of me. Like, I mean, I'd wake up being spooned. Like, it was not, like, I don't know. There's just, like, it's lacking detail.
Yes.
And it, in a way that makes it unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, why was your mother so weird about that?
Right.
Or maybe, I don't know, I was raised weird, but I feel like that was normal when we grew up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess the best way of like extrapolating it maybe is that Penelope was really oppressive.
Yeah, and that Penelope was like, well, if you're in the same bed, you'll be doing something wrong together.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it
I
is.
wish we needed that extra line, even if
Mhm.
it's just like, my mom never let anyone share a bed. Like,
Yeah.
something to just kind of help us, because it didn't make enough sense to feel like as hard hitting as I wanted it to, because I wanted it to feel really hard hitting, because I think it's an important piece of Cheryl's identity.
Yeah, and I think because there's no ground laid between her and her mom about this being the issue, it's like her mom just has disdain from, or as we know last time, it's just like doing her own thing and being her own person. So when she's calling her loveless and all this different stuff, I know we get it in this episode of her feeling weird about that, but it doesn't, nothing ever kind of like pointed back to that it's like over her like sexual identity thing.
Exactly.
It's like her mom's just abusive to her all the time, so it just kind of blends it with everything else, but it's like, oh, actually it's this homophobic problem at the root of Penelope. So yeah, it's like a nice story, and it not nice, but I mean it works well for like us giving some pathos to Cheryl, but I think it's a little weak without some groundwork laid. Like
and I love Cheryl and Tony, so I allow it.
Oh yeah, we
there
give it a
are
pass.
weaker relationships everywhere. I just wish, because there aren't as many shows, especially like when this is coming out, that to either bisexual or lesbian women, like, to not really give it the thought to not make it feel as thoughtful, I guess, is the correct.
Well, and I think even looking back at shows we've covered, Pretty Little Liars goes like in on it on this specific thing. The groundwork is laid for Emily very early on.
That's a good point.
And while it's not like,
but they always have an evil bisexual
yeah, exactly. Not saying that it's all done well, but
Emily in particular is intentional the entire time.
Exactly, and you kind of get that from the beginning.
Definitely. So then we get the Josey and Kevin plot line. I don't really think there's much to dig into here, except that, like, the adults are wrong.
So terrible. And like I'm just saying, it's like, Sierra, please, like, you're with this man who won't even commit to also getting a divorce with his wife to be with you. It's like, come on now. And that Josey did nothing wrong.
And then we just have Archie's toxic masculinity.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's really that's kind of the theme of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he again doesn't rise up to the challenge what he thinks of trying to protect them within the cabin. He has those flashbacks back with the Black Hood where he didn't do anything, and when he's being told to get on the ground by the robbers. But then because he has to do something, he then chases after them after they're already running away. The most hollow thing that you could possibly do. And then which actually makes things worse for him because Andre catches after he catches one of the guys, he passes off to Andre, so then he knows that Andre killed the guy.
He handed over someone to be killed.
Yeah. So he's just making things harder for himself because he has this fragile masculinity at heart. Which is really funny, too, of tying back the kiss between Veronica and Jughead, which is simultaneously also satisfying, a probably weird fan things of just these couples stirring up pot that way.
We got to get even.
Exactly. That Jughead's old primary reason is just make Archie feel uncomfortable and twist the screws to him.
100%.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of really it in this episode. That most of it's pretty on the surface.
Exactly. Yeah. The getaway to the cabin is all, I think, a lot of fan service.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what it does really well, and you can only have can only have so many of those per episode. One, it forces them to talk about things they haven't been talking about. It airs that specific secret so that finally we know all of them know. But I think it is a lot of fan service. Specifically the Dark Betty, and also the line of Betty and Jughead being God, do they fuck about everything?
Oh yeah.
But it also shows that running away from their problem didn't solve it, and their problem followed them.
Mm-hmm.
There is no escaping the seediness of, is Riverdale the problem, or are they the problem? Or is it just problems follow you wherever you go?
Exactly. Yeah. I'd follow that there. It doesn't
Chick's a weirdo.
Anything. Very much so. And at least Jughead's it's Chick's a weirdo.
He's I know I'm intentionally a weirdo, but he's
he threatened you.
He's scary. All right, well, any other thoughts?
No, I think that's it. I think not too much going on in these episodes, I think, to really dig into. So
I liked them.
But yeah, I think it was fine.
They're fun.
Yeah. But not quite the highs of the week before.
No, and it's not the highs and lows of high school football.
Not yet. Not yet.
We'll get there.
Yeah. But for now, you can follow us on all your podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends, or you can watch the video version over on YouTube at dead_ends. You can also follow us on Blue Sky. That's at dead-ends. We'll post things related to the episodes and all that sort of stuff, and when episodes go live. Comment, subscribe, follow us, tell people about us. That'll help get word of mouth. And, we're just a small, humble podcast. And then, you can also send us emails to deadendspcast@gmail.com if you have thoughts on the episodes or want us to talk about things related to Riverdale. Pop it in there. And you can also do the same thing in our YouTube comments. We love talking to people there. So, yeah, please chime in.
Well, we don't fit in.
We're not going to fit in.
And we love you.
We love you so much.
And remember, if you find a random car, don't push it in a lake. It's not going to sink at the speed you want.